So I was initially going to hold off in making this video until tomorrow. One, because I already uploaded a video earlier today before this news broke, and generally uploading another video is going to tank the performance of the last one, so if you haven't seen it, go ahead and check that one out. It's about Michael Jordan and just how great of a basketball player he was. I also announced another giveaway opportunity in that video, so I'll leave it linked in the description. But with all of the news surrounding the Cavs making Andre Drummond available for a trade, and Bulls fans reacting to the news and how we must go after him, I figured I would get my thoughts out on this situation now, as this presents a pretty interesting opportunity for the Bulls if positioned correctly. So what's going on, everyone? You are listening to Bulls Central here. Hope you're all doing well. So as I'm sure most of you have seen, the Cleveland Cavaliers have announced that they will no longer be playing Andre Drummond as they work to make him move prior to the trade deadline on March 25th, which is actually still a long ways away. So Drummond might be sitting for some time, depending on how long it takes for the Cavs to find a trade partner. Now, the reason the Cavs are doing this is because they're focused on building around Jarrett Allen as their long-term center for the future, who they recently acquired in a trade from Brooklyn. What I will say, though, is I'm a bit surprised at how the Cavs are going about this by announcing they won't be playing him anymore and having him made available for a trade. That reduces a lot of their leverage in trying to make Andre Drummond traded, because teams now know they are going to be forced to get rid of him prior to the trade deadline. That being said, it's possible they did it so that teams could have a bidding war in who could present them with the best offer for Andre Drummond. So this presents a unique opportunity for the Bulls, because it's no secret the Bulls are in need of a true center, a traditional big man, and they're in desperate need of defense, which Drummond offers all of those. On top of that, Drummond is only 27, so it's not like he's in his 30s and on the decline. No, he's still playing great basketball, averaging 17.5 points per game, an incredible 13.5 rebounds per game, which is second in the whole league behind Clint Capella, 1.2 blocks per game, and 1.6 steals. His efficiency has dropped slightly in terms of his field goal percentage. He's at 47% currently versus his career at 53%. And part of that is mainly due to the fact that he's taking on more of a scoring role with the Cavs than he has previously in his career. Now, the problem with Drummond is he doesn't really fit in today's NBA that is centered around small ball, floor spacing, and outside shooting. I mean, you put Andre Drummond on a team in the early 2000s, and he's likely one of the best players in the league. Drummond obviously doesn't shoot threes at all. Literally, he hasn't made a single one so far this season. And then, of course, he's a terrible free throw shooter. Even myself, I could probably shoot free throws better than him. But that aside, the Bulls don't necessarily need to worry about the fact that he's not a fit for today's NBA, because the fact of the matter is the Bulls they already have enough guys on the court that can generate offense and spread the floor, like Levine, Kobe White, and Markkanen. What they really need is a guy who can help in crashing the boards, particularly on the offensive end when those outside shots from the guards aren't falling. And on top of that, a big man who isn't undersized and can bully other centers in the paint in scoring and protect the rim on defense on the other end. I mean, the more that I talk about this, the more I'm thinking this is actually a great fit for the Bulls. I know he has his flaws, but so do the Bulls for that matter. One of the biggest issues they have is defense. And as much as I do like Wendell, he's too small to play the center and he's injured a lot. And it's just year after year where we hope he's going to stay healthy and rely on him as our consistent center, and then he ends up missing significant time. But the question is Drummond worth it? Because there are a couple issues and factors that the Bulls have to consider in making a trade for him. One is that he's on an expiring deal. He will become a free agent this offseason, and the last thing the Bulls want to do is trade assets for him to keep him as a half-season rental before he walks in free agency. So that's the first thing. If a trade is made, it has to be done with assurances that he would re-sign, otherwise it's not worth it. Second, and this ties into him becoming a free agent, how much are the Bulls going to be willing to sign to keep him in free agency? So Drummond is currently making $28.7 million, which in my opinion is too much for a guy like Drummond. Like I said, he's great at a number of aspects to his game, but I don't feel he's worth that much. And he probably feels he is worth a max contract. So Arturas really has to assess how much money are they going to be willing to spend on Drummond to sign him as a free agent to even make a trade worthwhile. Because if they think he's going to want too much money, or some team is going to offer him a max deal, and they aren't willing to spend that much on him, then it's not even worth considering and trading for him, plain and simple. Otherwise, you're essentially trading him for a short-term rental and giving up assets as a result. Third, because Drummond will become a free agent in the offseason, is it even worth giving up the assets for him when you might have a shot at snagging him and giving up nothing and getting him in free agency? Now, that is part of the reason why the Cavs are making him available for a trade, because they want to at least get something for him in return rather than just letting him walk in free agency, which is smart. But this is also why the Cavs have very little leverage in this situation, which brings me to the final point, in that how much will the Bulls have to give up in a trade to the Cavs for Drummond? Well, the thing is, they might not have to give up that much, especially if the trade deadline gets closer and closer and the Cavs still haven't been able to move him. The problem with the Cavs, and really any team who trades for him, is that they have to make the money work in moving Drummond and matching up that salary, like I mentioned before. The Cavs would need to take back $23 million in contracts just to make a trade work. Now, the good news for the Bulls is we have a player who is on a very inflated contract that also happens to be on an expiring deal. And yes, that is Otto Porter. And the Cavs are also in need of a 3-and-D wing player. Now, the Cavs aren't just going to make this trade straight up for Otto, because that wouldn't make any sense given the fact that Otto is also on an expiring deal. He's a little bit older. Drummond is a better player than him, in my view, and they likely will be able to get more for Drummond from another team. But what if the Bulls added Wendell Carter Jr. to that package? If the Bulls were to bring on Drummond, this renders Wendell not as useful on the team because he wouldn't start at center, given Drummond would be a better fit at that position. Wendell is likely more of a power forward anyway, but then you would have him competing with Markkanen for minutes. And then for the Cavs, this might actually make sense for them because, again, Wendell is better suited to play a power forward. He's better sized to play a power forward. So it's not like he would be competing for minutes with Jared Allen at center. No, he would fit that power forward position that the Cavs are really lacking a bit. And given the fact that Kevin Love has been injured, he isn't their power forward for the future. They've been starting Taurean Prince, who is a decent piece, but Wendell would be an upgrade, in my opinion. Again, if Wendell can stay healthy. And Wendell is still young. He's only 21. He's in his third season of the NBA. So the risk is there because Wendell is injury prone. But the upside is also there in that Wendell does have the potential if he's able to stay healthy. And given the Cavs are in rebuild mode, they don't have a ton of leverage in getting rid of Drummond. So a package of Otto to make the money work and Wendell might actually be good enough for Andre Drummond. Now, if the Cavs suspect they can get better offers than this from other teams, then yes, the Bulls might have to consider adding maybe a draft pick or Gafford potentially as a backup center to Allen. Remember, the Cavs are going to want assets that they can build around for the future. At any rate, if I'm the Bulls, you want to ensure you don't give up too much for Drummond because, again, there are a lot of flaws to his game. So giving up what you think is worth for the guy is important. And then also ensuring you're able to retain him in free agency and not spending too much and giving him a massive contract when he does become a free agent. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts though. Do you think the Bulls should make a push for Drummond? What are some of the trade scenarios you like? Remember, you have to make the salaries work though. Let me know in the comments. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.